Hello and welcome to TISFL Academy. Today, I'll show you how to connect FastAPI to a MySQL database and fetch data in just a few lines of code. First, make sure FastAPI and Uvicorn are installed. If not, simply type pip install FastAPI Uvicorn. To connect FastAPI with MySQL, we'll use the package called mysql-connector-python. So type pip install mysql-connector-python. It will install in just a few seconds. Also, ensure you have a MySQL server running, either locally on your computer or online. In this video, I'm using phpMyAdmin on my local server. phpMyAdmin is a web interface that allows you to manage a MySQL server. You can create databases, tables, run SQL queries, and add data. It usually comes bundled with local server tools like XAMPP or WAMP. If you're using XAMPP, start Apache and MySQL from the control panel first, then open your browser and go to localhost/phpMyAdmin. If you're using a hosting service, your provider might already give you access to phpMyAdmin. In my case, I'll be using a local phpMyAdmin setup. Let's create a database. I'll name mine FastAPI Test, but you can choose any name you like. Once created, we'll add a table called Users with 3 columns: ID, Name, and Age. The ID column will be an integer, set as the primary key, and auto-increment, so it counts automatically. The name column will be a text field, and age will be an integer. To have something to test, I'll insert 2 rows. Alice, age 30, and Bob, age 25. So let's now return back to FastAPI. First, add a main Python file. So import FastAPI from FastAPI and import mysql-connector. First, initialize a FastAPI app. Type app equals FastAPI. So I will create a function to get connection. This simple function called getConnection will return mysql-connector.connect, and here we put our setup information. First, we have host name. In our case, it is localhost, but if you use a real server, you can change it. Second, the user. In my case, it is the phpMyAdmin default user root, and the password is empty. Here, make sure that you set your correct info if you use a real server. The last thing here is the database name. We created it just before a few seconds. It is FastAPI Test, and setup is finished. Now to test if this connection works, we will try to fetch users. To do that, we create a get endpoint. Let's call it /users. Define a function called getUsers. Inside it, a simple try except block. So try, here the first thing is connect to our DB. So create a variable called con equals getConnection. Then a cursor. A cursor is a temporary workspace or pointer that lets you execute SQL queries and loop through the results one by one. So create a variable called cursor equals con.cursor with an argument dictionary equals true. This means each row will be returned as a dictionary, where the keys are the column names, which makes it easier for FastAPI to convert it into JSON. So now we will execute an SQL code to fetch all rows in the users table. Simply type cursor.execute and the SQL code select chow from users. This code means select all records from the users table. Then let's store rows. Type rows equals cursor.fetchAll. This will get all the results from the query and store them in a list in rows variable. And finally, you should close the cursor and close the connection. This is important to free up resources. And it's done. Now, if there is an error, let's first import from mysql.connector error. This error class is used to handle database connection problems or SQL execution issues. And here, accept error as E. This means if something goes wrong with the connection or query, we'll catch the error in the variable E. Then we should return an error, but instead of showing a messy technical traceback, we'll return a friendly error in JSON. To do this, we import HTTP exception from FastAPI. HTTP exception is a special class that lets us send HTTP errors with custom status codes and messages back to the client. Now, raise HTTP exception with status code equals 500. The number 500 means internal server error in HTTP terms, and set detail equals *e. This way, the user will see exactly what went wrong in a clean JSON format instead of raw Python error text. So now, to test that, just run the server by typing Uvicorn main app-reload. Here, main is the name of the Python file, and app is the name of the FastAPI application instance we created earlier. Once the server starts, simply visit this link in your browser. https://27.18000/users. And as you can see, we get a list of users, the same users we added in MySQL via phpMyAdmin: Alice, 30 years old, and Bob, 25 years old. You can also check the Swagger documentation. For that, open http://127.0.18000 docs. Swagger UI is an interactive API documentation tool that FastAPI provides automatically. Here, you'll find our Get Users endpoint. To test it, click on it to expand the section. Then click the Try It Out button. Finally, click Execute. As you see, the response section contains a list of users in JSON format. This means our connection to MySQL was successful. And it was really easy to do that with FastAPI. Plus, now you can execute any SQL query you want, just like we did with the select statement. And that's it. In just a few minutes, we connected FastAPI to MySQL and fetched real data. In the same way, you can also post, put, and delete data. Thanks, and see you in the next video.